Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk about all things fashion in a very lighthearted way. So let us begin with the Prada Spring Summer 2020 collection. All right, so let's take a look at this. So I really love this Prada aesthetic, It is a cross between a toddler and a grandma. It's the type of thing that, a 5-year-old would wear, but also a 75-year-old would wear. It's probably one of the reasons why their market capital is just so strong in fashion, right? Because they're capable of just finding midways between all of these different demographics. It's wonderful. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love this next look. I mean, imagine if a 5-year-old girl was being raised by like a Hell's Angels or something. On the one hand, he wants to dress his daughter up all sexy, but on the other hand, that's not really socially appropriate. So what does he do? He goes to Prada and he gets this. It actually makes me think of something that someone like Alexa Chung would wear, because she's super quirky. And of course, Prada is the brand for the quirky, nerdy girl, She's an intellectual, but she likes to intellectualize fashion as well. She doesn't want to dress, traditionally sexy. She wants to be interesting and different and adorable. Okay, so for this next look, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. I mean, this one truly is the type of thing that a sophisticated older grandmother would actually wear. I mean, look at this pattern. My gosh. Do I think it looks attractive? Well, yeah, definitely. I definitely think it looks attractive. Those boots? Now, would this 75-year-old grandmother wear these boots? I'm not too sure. Alright, so to end this section of the matronly suits, I love how this product collection has been so inclusive. There's clothes for people of every race, a variety of different sizes, and of course it is trans age as well, and also transgenerational. I mean, this look, for instance, imagine living in the 1930s. How would you dress your 8-year-olds? This is how you dress your 8-year-olds, my friends. Equipped with everything from the boots to the gold. If your 8-year-old was going to a party, this is exactly the look that everybody would go for, And imagine that 8-year-old, growing up, passing all those years up until 2019. This look, it's a look that you can wear when you're young. It's a look that you can wear when you're old. Prada, always forward thinking. I love it. Not that I follow Prada's financial records too closely, but I suspect that this might grow to be one of their most commercially successful collections. And I say that because there's so many things that are actually wearable. This look, you can actually imagine Miuccia Prada herself wearing this look to the beach. It is so, Italian. It is so south of Italy. It is so the type of thing that a 6-year-old woman would totally wear to her beach, She's not young anymore and she doesn't feel altogether comfortable with her body, but she still wants to go and she still wants to show a little skin. She probably has her children over there as well, running around. Yeah, it's a very practical look. I like it. Alright, so this next look is pretty much the exact same idea, but there's something about the material that seems thicker. So whereas in the other one, you could actually see the swimsuit or the underwear just a little bit, that's for like the older woman, right? This is a look that I can imagine the mother dressing her child as, after they're done running around in the water, running around in the beach and in the sand, they can just wash themselves in the little shower, right, that stays outside, and they can just put this on. I like it. Alright, so I really love this next look. It might not be for me and it might not be for you because we might prefer to dress in ways that are a little bit more, how would you put it, dignified for our age, sexy. But of course, for the quirky Prada girl, and there's so many of you guys out there, for the fashionistas that are infested all over Instagram, there's no way that they would not love this look. Look at it. Oh, I love this. I love the different layers, true. It's just so eccentric. It's just so... Again, you can wear it to the beach, you can wear it to go to the picnic. Prada, always thinking ahead, always thinking of everything. The bag that the model is holding, it looks like a veritable bucket. You can put your little toys inside, Yeah, totally. Of course, you can collect your little shells in there. You have to be very, very careful, though, to not put too much sand inside that bag. Remember, it is a Prada bag after all. We're talking about several thousands of dollars. They even equip them with these little hats so they can protect their little European heads from all that sun burning through. Always thinking ahead, I love that. Alright then, so this is more or less the same idea, except, of course, it is for the older woman. So perhaps the previous look would be for the little girl playing in the sand, right? And this would be for the mom who wants to participate, and wants to bond with her daughter. She has her own bucket bag where she can fill with her own adult toys, right? But it's much cleaner, it's bigger, it's more sophisticated, it's heavier. The color is black, it's more sophisticated as well, it's darker, It doesn't have as many layers, or the layers are not as short as in the previous look, to give it a more elegant, a more grown up look. Right, I love it. All right, you guys, so I'm not gonna lie, for this next look, I'm having a difficult time making sense of. The dress, this thin brown dress, where would one wear this to? And especially how they paired it with these green shoes. I know that it's Prada, and as the legend has it, when it comes to Prada, none of us mere mortals understand it when it first comes out. You have to allow the whole collection to really sink in months and months and months on end until finally you realize the genius that is Miuccia Prada. But I have to say, at the moment, I just do not understand this look. I just do not understand. Look at those leather shoes. Look at how tough they are. Look at just how they're even more or less dominant. How do you pair that with this loosey-goosey brown dress on the top? And the hat as well. If it were not for the shoes, I would have said, okay, sure, whatever. I suppose it's a day in the beach, a day in the park, right? But now with these shoes, I have no idea. She looks a little crazy. Well, this next look makes me smile, you guys. I am sure that these accessories are going to be a success for any billionaire toddler. Although I have to say, I understand just how weird and how different many of these fashionistas like to be, but I think that this look is a little too schizo. I'm sorry. It kind of works if you're a kid in the 1920s. I don't think it would work if you're a 20-year-old in the 2020s, you know what I mean? But anywho, I had to say, I worked my brain cells to try to understand most of the looks in this collection, but this one right here, this one just looks a little ridiculous. I'm so sorry. Dudes, now presenting my absolute favorite look for this entire collection. Imagine, being a Sicilian mistress, and the man that you've been sleeping with passed away. You haven't been invited to the funeral, obviously, right? But you show up anyway. You're dressed in all black, and it looks relatively modest. There's a lot of waves in the dress, but it's also see-through. It's almost as if you're just sticking it to everybody there in the funeral who didn't invite you back. Only Prada could find a way to make something look modest and at the same time sort of sexy, right? Although I must say, I do feel a little bit bad for the quirky girl target market that, Prada is always aiming for. This look looks a little too modest, a little too tamed. It's not as, how would one put it, as psychotic as the other looks in this collection. This dress almost looks normal, which is rare for a Prada collection, believe me. Alright then, so I suppose now we're moving on to the more evening wear type of looks, except these are evening wear at the beach. Alright then, so this is a nice little look, nothing too special, nothing too weird, nothing too out there. Again, I think this would be slightly disappointing for the more eccentric Prada fans out there, but for the billionaire Prada woman who isn't that invested in the more intellectual side of fashion, is just looking for something nice and expensive to just wear out, yeah, this seems like an appropriate look for her. Oh my gosh, you guys, here we go again with the shoes. Why is this hard shoe being paired with this very light dress? I don't get it. Are Prada leather goods sales going down? Did they have to incorporate them in every single place? Gosh, I just don't get it. Maybe somebody out there that understands more about fashion and more about Prada can explain this to me, Or maybe, once again, I'll finally understand it a year from now when I look back. Or maybe it's just that I don't understand Italian culture well enough. I mean, is it hot outside or is it not hot outside? I mean, do you wear the dress because it's light and it's airy? Do you wear the shoes because it's... I just don't get it. Well, this next look is rather odd. It makes me think of, I don't know, perhaps a 12-year-old girl with very little body fat, She gets cold really, really quickly. She goes to the beach, she goes into the water, she realizes she's really, really cold. She goes into her car, wears a sweater, and then ties a towel around her hips. That is exactly what this look makes me think of. I mean, the sweater's okay, but I mean, what's the difference between this sweater and some random sweater that you can get off of, I don't know, Club Monaco, It's hardly the most Prada thing. Yes, it is true that Prada does a lot of sweaters, but this is hardly the most special of the Prada sweaters out there, you know what I mean? This next look expresses the exact same idea as the look before, but now it seems as if the grandma is the one that's cold. Okay. The color is beautiful though, I have to say. The color really is beautiful. And the way that it's cut is also so clean. It is so Prada. It is so Italian tailoring. It's quite impressive. It's quite impressive, I have to say. It must be a very windy summer, a very, very windy summer in Italy. She's got her slippers on, she's got her coat on. Although I'm not sure. I mean, is this material... I need to research this. Is this material resistant to salt water, to seawater? I don't know. I know I'm making fun of Prada here. Listen, I'll make fun of everything. But I will say that it's actually rather unfortunate that so many of the more adventurous Prada looks are the ones that you don't really find in the stores, and it's coats like these that really just drive the sales, I mean, they'll get away with, making really silly dresses that look like some 5-year-old could wear, simultaneously with an older person. But that doesn't really trickle down into the stores. It sucks. I mean, it's great that we have this as visual amusement, but it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that they're not often bought. On to the next look. All right. I really like the color in this look. I really like the pants too. I mean, the pants are just really, really elegant. I could definitely see myself wearing it to work. And I mean, I know this is a women's collection, but big deal. Who cares? Now, the actual blazer, I'm not all that big a fan of, the way that it's cut, and the way that it's fitted. I mean, I know it's Prada, once again, I know it's Prada. And I could see somebody like a Tilda Swinton, for instance, wearing something like this. But for the rest of us mere mortals, I mean, I don't know about you, but I like it when things are more form-fitting. And I understand that it's important for us, as lovers of fashion to be able to appreciate different things, and I definitely can appreciate this, but personally I'm not all that into it. And I say this not because I want to offend anybody, but personally when I look at this look, I mean, imagine you seeing somebody walking down the street wearing this. I mean, forget about the bag. I mean, imagine walking into a waiting room and seeing somebody wearing something like this. Wouldn't they look a little, how do I put this, lower class, just a little bit? I mean, look at the layering. Look at that shirt from the inside. Look at with all the pants and everything. I mean, to me, what this would look like, it's like, I mean, imagine you're like 20 years old and you come from a family with not a lot of means, and then you ask your mother, you ask your grandmother, you ask your aunt, to each lend you a piece of wardrobe. One lends you a pant, one lends you a blazer, one lends you a shirt. They don't quite match, but I mean, what else can you do, right? You're trying to go for a job interview, so you just wear them all together. Well, I mean, leave it to Prada to be subversive, whereas every other brand out there is trying to be glamorous and aspirational and sexy. Prada goes against that and looks for inspiration in the places where you would least look for inspiration from, which is underdeveloped communities, basically. This look just looks old. I mean, it just looks old, and not even in the most elegant way, in the most sophisticated. It just looks old. Okay, so now this next look is giving me the exact same feeling. I think this model is Kaya Gerber. Doesn't she look like Kaya Gerber? She looks older, like she hasn't been moisturizing or something. But again, this look just looks like it looks old and looks like borrowed clothing. If I saw somebody walking down the street like this, I would think, oh, poor kid, you know? This one is even worse than the last look, because at the very least the last look, the blazer was more fitted. Over here it just does not look like it was made for her. Like her aunt or whoever it is that this girl borrowed the blazer from is just bigger than her. You know what I mean? If she were in the job interview, I'd almost feel bad not giving her the job. You know what I mean? Because I see, just based on how she's dressed, how much she is suffering. She needs the paycheck. You can see that she attempted to get colors that were similar, but the blazer is clearly purple and the pants are clearly blue. The last look was preferable, if you do not have two things that are of the same color, in terms of a suit, it's preferable for you to purposely, put colors that are very, very different. Because if you wear colors that are kind of similar but not the same, and people notice that, it makes it seem as if you don't know where the other pair is, or it makes it seem as if the other pair doesn't fit you, or it reinforces this idea that these clothes were borrowed, you can tell that these two things do not go together, and it feels as if she was trying to make them go together, and it makes you pity her even more. I actually prefer this next look. Of course, it's still in keeping with the theme of the little girl that has no clothes and she needs to go to an interview. But at the very least, in this girl's family, they tried to gather as much funds as they could. They don't have much, obviously. They gave it to the little girl and they told her, go out to an African flea market, see what you can find. I have to say, I think it's more put together than the other ones, It does not look like the most tasteful thing to wear, especially to an interview or to pretty much anywhere else. But perhaps it is a little bit more cohesive, I think. I don't know about you, but I'm getting major Downton Abbey vibes from this. This looks like something one of the women that work in the kitchen would wear, you know what I mean? I love the color. Of course, the coats are beautiful, obviously. That hat, obviously Prada is doing this on purpose, right? It's one of those things. You try to make fun of Prada, but on the other hand, they're doing it on purpose. How can I properly make fun of you? The look is interesting though, I have to say. Although anybody walking out of the house looking like this, it looks a little like, where's the institution so we can just put this person in there, you know what I mean? Something that I definitely have found very interesting in this collection is not just the confusion within the actual individual looks, but just like the whole collection as a collective, everything together. This look would almost look like something one would wear to a funeral. Once again, the cross between the toddler and the old lady. I keep on repeating it, but it's a theme that shows up a lot here. It's a very versatile collection. That is for sure. It's got a lot of different things. It's got a lot of different elements, elements to go to work if you're a working class person, elements to go to the beach if you are, growing up in the south of Italy and you're a toddler, if you're a mistress visiting your husband's funeral, you've got to look for you. If you're the husband's daughter, here's the look right here, right now. It was a nice collection. Alright, you guys, so this is the end of my little review. I did not review every single look from the whole collection. There were about 50 looks. This is as far as I'm going, but I truly hope that you've enjoyed my little video. If there's any fashion show or anything else sartorially related that you'd like me to comment on, then please suggest in the comment section, and please like, comment, and subscribe. The more you do that, the more my channel can grow. Until next time.